I have a vision of a free creative future on the web that is a little bit more than usual. I won't be able to achieve it through giving stuff away on the web. I'll just do normal business in the future, which is what I'm kind of going toward. And if I make my millions doing business in other ways, which is probably anything, I'm not really interested in anything particular, as long as it's a good purpose, you know. Even if it's stocks or whatever I have to do, if I make my millions, I want to do a free, like a link to a website, like off of social media, to reach a lot of people with this link, you know, through social media. And then the link would go to a certain website that has a lot of power to share what I call the V2N, which is a visual video novel. You can go in here and read stories, like something that's on my site, like The Baby Angel. That could be made into a film. That could be made into a novel. The V2N can do it both. You know how a novel sometimes is greater than a film? Or the film is made because the novel gave it the reason to make it and the details. But nobody really does both. So the V2N does both, where it's a visual video novel. So I hope to do that. It's just that I don't think I can make money doing that. You know, if I put up a V2N for sale, they would just steal it, you know, and reproduce it and give it away. And I doubt that I could make, you know, $10 million for a V2N. Because of the way piracy can be done, it's just terrible to creative people. So I think in the future I will share V2N for free so I can conquer the purpose and then make money in other ways. So that creativity doesn't die, you know, so it lives. And I'll just give away my novels and that'll benefit people in a way that I like a lot. Like someone that doesn't have a lot of money, like $30 to buy a novel is, wow, that's a lot of money. They could do a lot with $30. They could take someone out to dinner and both of them could eat for $30. I could give them the novel for free in time, is my theory. So what I do is put up like a little mini version of the V2N. I've been doing it for about 10 years. And it has visual, it has links to describe the story, some video to like show you what the film might be like, but it's not quite exactly the same. And then the essays, which is like the novel. I've done it quite extensively in some stories where it was just, wow, I really got into it for like 50 blogs. And it was essays. It was enough that it was a novel online with visual and video. It was a V2N. Like the Baby Angel that I have up now is more like a theme, a visual theme that's more like social media. You know, it's faster. But there's some stories I put up. The one that I have called the Arctic Racer was just 50, 75 blogs with essays, you know, because it's very technical, very powerful, and it was a film that I wrote. That would be a V2N that I would put online, but I'd want to do it for free. After I make, you know, a lot of money in business. Otherwise not. Like, I don't want to suffer as a creative individual who's trying to sell things that's being pirated. I don't want that process in my life. I want to make money in business. And then in the philanthropy type that I do is maybe not giving medicine to the poor or, you know, money to UNICEF or helping homeless people in New York City. The money I'd give would be to fund writers to complete my stories in a very full manner, a full structured manner of like 300-page novel with pictures accompanying videos where we have our own actors and CG and everything. It's maybe 15 minutes of video and not 90 minutes like a film. but it's just enough dispersed in it where you have this great experience, and it's a hybrid story. It's like watching a novel and a film and documentaries all at once. And it's like doing research about it afterwards. It's like cultural with it. It's everything in V2N. And I would like to someday do that as my form of philanthropy, along with maybe like giving money. I think I'll give money to the Catholic Church to help like homeless people. That's what I would do, if I had a lot of money. I'd share the V2N. I have over 100 stories that I could do on that portal. Like, it would be a link to a web portal called V2N, Visual Video Novel. And you'd see little glimpses of it, of the stories, and it'd be all free. And you'd be like, wow, I can read 100 novels. And these are done by like professional writers, CG graphic artists, actors. These are complete stories. They're like watching a film. And having the novel right with it, which is incredible, and I don't have to pay anything. And then, I could join the free share generation, which is called GNU or something like that, and they do projects together. And what I would say is, let's try a theme that we can do together that's very powerful. And then, all of us can add to it, and we'll have like a committee that takes work from people, and we say, well, this awards, like it would be an awardist, introductions and assistance to making a story complete in the V2N, to make V2Ns with people. And no one gets paid, but they get awards. Like, well, what is it? A film is 2,000 scenes that are short. It's all visual and audio. The novel is 400 pages, and then the V2N would be, 250 pages, 300 pages, and pictures, video, links, information about it. So whoever comes up with, out of the 250 pages of the V2N, the visual video novel project that we decided on, like maybe there's voting about a theme, and we just say, well, we need something in space theme, some kind of story, something about maybe a community in the orbit of Earth, where it's a completely functioning community with stores and repair centers, everything. And we call it Orbit. And so we all build Orbit together. And it's like a film, it's like a novel. It could be a series. What we do is award it to really powerful people that have great judgment. Writers, professors, business owners, I don't know. This committee would award the best input about Orbit, and they would say, we would like this information that this individual gave us for like a particular chapter of Orbit to be in like chapter 5, and it's better than all the rest. We vote this as awarded. They get the award for the V2N chapter award, or part of a chapter. And we say, wow, this is voted as the best. But it's difficult because, you'd be rejected in that. But it'd be great if you were awarded, because the finished product would be incredible. It'd be a free novel that is like a film. And you could be said as, you were awarded in a V2N. Someday, that could be money. Like, you could walk into an employer and you say, I was awarded in the V2N portal as, input for like half a chapter of a visual video novel that is very popular right now, and there's millions of people reading this free novel. They say, oh, that's wonderful. That's value in our company. So he gets a job. He gets promotions. So there's money to be made. It just makes it like indirectly in the free realm. So these are things that I see, and I think that, we should have that for people in the future. That's my philanthropy dreams. They should walk right into a V2N portal and say, well, this guy couldn't come up with $200 million to make us the CG graphics for a film story that is great, but he could write the novel for us. That's good. And he could also do 15 minutes of those visuals for us. Wow, that's excellent. And I'm not paying anything for this. Or someday we make it so good, we have it so refined that we say there's two V2N portals. One is the free portal, where it's as good as it has always been. It's a mixture of novel and film, and we love it. It's visual and reading. The second one is the ratings of the V2Ns was so high that they're put into a more professional format that is purchased or even made into actual Hollywood films from a V2N, where it's 2 hours of graphics and it's a $200 million budget, and the film grosses $1 billion from a V2N. That is possible. And it's made possible because we're providing a lot of details and a lot of visuals for those directors and writers of the future. So what's up on my site is not a V2N. It's more like the least of the V2N. Like, it's hardly any essay, hardly any visual. But it has what I'm trying to describe in this video. It's free for you. It's like a story. It's like a glimpsing that I do on Facebook. I didn't intentionally create the V2N, but I've had it for many years, and I said, hey, this is visual video novel, and Facebook helped me to actually create this genre where I believe in it. And I've gone into it, but not too far, because like I said, I don't have a lot of time to give away free stuff. It just works that way, And my stuff can be pirated, so I understand all that stuff. I'm not going to blame pirates. I'm going to say, well, I knew them beforehand, so I held back some things. It's like a sampling of V2N on my site. I've done it for like 10 years, and I thought of like quitting, because I just don't want to give partial stories, and I don't want to give the whole thing because I could, sell that story. So what I'm saying is, I thought I'd share in the video the V2N for people to have, so that we can all figure out a way that writers can be paid, so we can get the next J.K. Rowling. But it's better because it wasn't like we read J.K. Rowling book and then we waited 5 years and then it became a film, which is fine. It was a good natural process going from novel to visual, and people love that, and they still like it, and they still want to do J.K. Rowling stuff in the future in visual, in new I think they're going to do TV shows ahead. But the V2N is you do it all right away. You look right away at the story and you're reading the first chapter and you're seeing visual. You can click on a video that's related to the story, probably after reading the chapters, so that you have information related to the video. And what I'm saying is this could be an evolution of a genre called V2N, visual video novel. And I believe that it can become more in the future. It can become saleable. It can become films. It can become free projects where people are awarded, and then they make resumes from these awards. The awards could have money where maybe there wasn't a high budget to create this one film story. They couldn't get it. You couldn't get $80 million, but they got $100,000 from investors. That's not much. But we've divvied it up into like 10 chapters and $10,000, and we award people for these chapters, and we give out, like $3,000 award or something, and they get it. And they're not doing it for money. It's just for the award, and just a little bit of something, in a free project to continue creativity, to beat this piracy thing. in different manners. And that's on a resume, and it can be confirmed by a governing body in this V2N that the free projects produced, minimal investments, but we divvied it out through awards that we judged were, the best material to make this story to be finished. And those people have resumes, and they share it with their employers, and the employers call this governing body and say, this person says they were awarded in your film projects, which is also a novel film project, and they were awarded, and what they produced was became a part of this film. The film went into production later. The film has grossed $300 million, and it contains the same information that this person has produced. And they received a $3,000 award back in the processes of this film production. Is this true? Yes, it's true. Yes, we know who he is. He did a very good job creating this part of this chapter. They say, fine, thank you. That confirms to the employer that this person is a valuable employee, And they didn't have to be pirated for $10 million. They didn't have to invest their whole life in creativity, I would say, too. And they're working another business. That's my goal. It's not to make the V2N my whole life, It's not my purpose. I don't see that yet. I don't see that as very big yet. But in the future, in my philanthropies, I would like to create the V2N in a web portal and link it off of websites, and then have people share my link, through the social medias. Please check this link. It's called V2N. You can read novels mixed with film for free. It's amazing. And then people join all levels. There's money making it. There's awards at low level. There's free projects. There's film projects in the future. Everything. It could actually become a film production company in the V2N, but it's based out of visual video novels. Because it's very difficult for a film director to just write something. Then he has to give it to his professional writers, which are better writers than him. Then they have to finish that story. Then he has to read it, and he doesn't know if he's the one that has the actual judgment that can produce something that millions of people will love. He doesn't know for sure. He might have his own opinions, but he knows he's got to make money. So, the novel came out first, though, and, 50 million people like this novel. Well, of course it's going to be a good film. That's the V2N philosophy, is to love it from the novel and let it be loved by millions. And you can track it through this website. You can track how many people read that novel, and they could respond to it and do comments. And then you can rate the novels, as most liked. And then those can go into film productions, if need be. So I have this as one of my businesses. The V2N is one of my businesses in the future, but it's not my main business because of piracy, and locking things in. Like, I don't know how Netflix does it, but you watch films over the web, those things can be stolen and reproduced and given to people, and they don't even have to pay for it. I'm sure it's done somehow. The piracy is at Netflix, but obviously they've succeeded, so there's some type of encryption that they use. There's something that they're doing to make money, so Netflix has the answers, The Actors Guild in Hollywood, they have the answers. They lock things in so that their people can make money in creativity, and they're not pirated into a state of unemployment. I don't have that for V2N yet. I don't have the locks yet. How to lock in a visual video novel. I think it can be stolen off a website, and the profits would be gone. So I'll beat it by saying, I'll just give it away at first. I'll give it away at first until we figure out encryption better. That's one of my goals. That's one of my businesses ahead. I'll probably find a way to make some money in V2N in the future. Might not be, hundreds of millions of dollars per story, but it'd be enough to grow the infrastructure of the V2N itself, like, the building and the mainframe computers, and you have to make some kind of money for it to exist. I think I could probably do that. I think that's my goal in V2N, is to build a structure with some kind of profits, and not be too greedy, and get these stories out there in novel and visual format, like a mixture of a novel and a film, is something that I've always wanted to see in my whole life. I keep hearing about novels being made into film, and I go back and read the novel, and there was a difference, And I have it for the last 10 years on Facebook. I haven't fully done it because of piracy, but at least I give something, in the stories I've done. Like I said, I have over 100 stories that I have memorized even as a writer myself. And I've been able to bring something that's like an essay mixed with visual. And I think that's something that would satisfy people. Like, we'd finally have it, because we love novels that are made into films. But if the first exposure to the story is a novel and it has videos with it, that's incredible, That's a new way of looking at it. So there'll be three then. There'll be the novel itself, there'll be the V2N, and then there'll be the film. Where a novel could be made into a V2N then, through my site. But the problem is you have to read it online. You can't buy a V2N on the shelf at the bookstore. I suppose you could have like a DVD inside of a book. That'd be kind of expensive though. Probably the cost of a V2N to put it into Barnes & Nobles with a nice budget that made this visual video novel, you might have to spend, you might have to spend like $39, to get the DVD, and it's only 15 minutes of video, plus other related type video. But we didn't do 2 hours of CG, we didn't have $200 million to make this film. So the V2N budget is made right there. After 22 minutes, I've discovered that. I never knew that before. So I'll admit to you that's the first time it came to my mind. The V2N budget, my guess is, I'll start out with philanthropy. Could create it and give it to people for free. In time, if it's really good, people will see that it has value. It's not something that's kind of like a free product. This is a little bit better, So obviously people are going to have to pay something for this. And then we're going to have to invest more, because 15 minutes of videos, let's divide the film up. Like, if it's a 2-hour film, and they invested $150 million, 15 minutes would be 1/8 of that. So it is millions, to create the V2N. Let's say it's $20 million. Plus the writer's time. But that's not a high budget, you just sit home and write. It didn't cost anything, maybe, I don't know, the computer and depreciation of a $200 laptop produced the novel. But the 15-minute video with the V2N might be $20 million to produce that with actors, CG, and film scenes. Let's say it's $25 million, and we'll call it a day, V2N budget in the future. And we're watching novels that have 15 minutes of video with them, and it's like a film. It's made into something itself someday, which would be, wow, a craft. A certain craft called the visual video novel. Or a new name that will evolve, which is much more of what its kind is, and it's a kind of story then. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you've watched my site over the last 10 years, you've seen me try stories on Facebook for free. I've been afraid of piracy, and so I take the stuff down. And I hide some of my stories, but I keep going in them. I keep going for many, many years. I have stories that I still write in that I started like 30 years ago. I still write in them. I still write for a lifetime. Someday, through my business though, I'll probably do all three of these. I'll do a novel, but it won't be me writing the novel. I'll give all this video stuff that I have with essays and pictures to paint the picture for a writer that is professional, and I'll pay a writer, and I'll ask him, can you please turn this story into a novel and allow me to read the novel critically and opinionated, where we can work together if I would like to change what you're writing, and I'll pay you to do that. I'm not paying you for your purity of creativity or your freedom to write this novel. I want to pay you to produce something that I like, particularly in my opinions. If they're willing to do that for me, then I would pay a professional writer to write the novels, and then I would pay professional writers, CG graphics, actors, directors to write and finish the V2Ns, which is less visual than a film, and then eventually I could do films. But I'm more of a writer, so I would probably not do the films. I would stay with this V2N because I still like essay. I like that you would read a story. I still like that. And I also like films. So I like the V2N. I don't want to go overboard in the future where I'm doing V2Ns online. I'm actually becoming a little bit smarter with regard to like piracy and how I would like to finish this off. It's not that I'm trying to make money by stories. I want to get the stories to people, or let this V2N genre develop so that people could use it, so they could bring stories. But I'm not interested in money making through stories. I think I have that figured out as what I won't be doing in the future much. But I'll be able to get this thing done. I'll be able to get free stories to people that are extensive with visual. It's one of my visions. The next one is maybe we could propel a new genre of something between the novel and the film, and just stay in that and enjoy that. It's lower cost. We can have what is both. So I'll do it through normal business. I won't do it through creative business, because piracy is they just hang the creative people. So I will not do that. I will go into like our German family nature, and engineering, and I'll seek to, I don't know, create a patent for like a factory or something, and go that direction, and then come back and do the visual video novel. I hope it becomes something for people, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for listening.